Marvel Rivals has some of the weirdest team-ups ever in video game history. From team-ups with Hulk and Black Panther making completely no sense for their characters, to having joke team-ups with Jeff Nato, which even though it is hilarious, still doesn't make any sense. And to removing the only team-ups that do make lore accurate sense, that being the Symbiote team-up with Spider-Man, and to the Fantastic Four team-up that they removed recently. And from a Marvel fan perspective, none of these team-ups in-game currently don't line up with these iconic heroes' actual teams. Like this whole entire Gamma team-up doesn't really make any sense. So today, I want to completely overhaul Marvel Rivals team-up system by actually having team-ups that are lore accurate to these characters, while still using the same system that Marvel Rivals established with an anchor character sharing his powers with his teammates. So sorry Namor, we are not giving you an Ice Squid, a Dead Squid, or a Gamma Squid anymore. And I want to start off with a team-up that should have been in the game since the start of Marvel Rivals, that being an Avengers team-up. And it's honestly surprising that one of Marvel's most iconic superhero groups ever never had a team-up in-game. But I am here to give you an idea of how it could look like if they did give an Avengers team-up. And for this team-up, it's pretty easy to decide who's the anchor character, that being Thor. Since out of all the Avengers, Thor has shared his powers the most with the rest of the Avengers. So how this team-up would work is that Thor would be the anchor, with Captain America and Iron Man being powered up by Thor's lightning. And the reason why I chose these three was because these three are the faces of MCU's Avengers. Now you might be wondering, how would this team-up even look like in game? Well, Iron Man would gain a similar ability to how he used to have in the Gamma Charge team-up, rest in peace, one of my favorite team-ups, but instead of Iron Man being infused with gamma radiation, he's now infused with Thor's lightning, just like how he did in Avengers 1, where he absorbs Thor's lightning and now has his suit powered up by 300%, and was able to dish out even more insane power. And to make this team up visually different from his regular overdrives, we would change his beam to yellow and have lightning coming out of his suit to better show that he's using lightning instead of the regular pulse rays. And for Captain America, the new ability he would gain is obviously such an easy choice. Captain America would gain a new ability, that being the ability to wield Mjolnir. Now, I know that might sound crazy, but let me cook for a little bit. How this team up would work is when he activates this Mjolnir ability, he would lose his shield completely and would now be replaced with Mjolnir, so he sacrificed his defense to get better offense, meaning more damage, but he can't block anymore. Which I think this would be a fair trade-off, since Cap's whole thing is that he can't die, and by getting rid of his shield would mean that he would be way more killable in this state. And I know this team-up wouldn't include all the Avengers, but you have to remember, currently Marvel Rivals team-ups only could hold up to 4 people in one team-up, so we can't have all the Avengers in one single team-up, sadly. But even though we're talking about team-ups that grant new abilities in their base kit, I also want to talk about team-ups that combine ultimates. Since in my opinion, the idea of combining ultimates is one of the coolest ideas ever, but unfortunately we don't have that many in the game. So who better than two characters who are known to combine in their stories, that being Venom and Spider-Man having combining ultimates. Now we did have a symbiote team up in the past before, but in that team up, Spider-Man only gained a small power of the symbiotes. But in this brand new team up, Spider-Man would gain the symbiote itself completely. How I would design this team up is when both Venom and Spider-Man do this team up ult, Spider-Man fuses with Venom as he goes underground, and once Venom chomps on the enemies, Spider-Man comes out of his mouth as well, fully in the black suit, doing more damage than his regular ult. But now he's infused with the symbiote and does more damage. And even though that doesn't sound too crazy, I haven't gone to the best part. After this ult combo ends, Spider-Man gets to keep the symbiote for a couple seconds, granting him 50 extra bonus health, and everyone he hit with his ult are now tethered to him, allowing them not to run away if they somehow survived. Which I think would be a pretty cool combo ult, since it would make these two dive characters better at diving the supports, and we finally get to see this team up that they finally deserve. Now before we get to my next team up idea, don't forget to subscribe and hit that hype button if you're on mobile. It helps out the channel a lot. Now back to the video. Now ever since Deadpool got announced, I always thought giving Deadpool team-ups would be the easiest thing ever, since he has interacted with almost every Marvel character in history, and had clear characters in Rivals who could be teammates, that being Spider-Man, Jeff, and Wolverine. Now Deadpool and Spider-Man are both known to be masked heroes who talk a lot, Jeff being his favorite buddy, and Wolverine and Deadpool having a movie together. We did get a team up with Jeff, so that's one check mark off the box, but now we have Wolverine and Spider-Man. I think giving Deadpool a Wolverine team up makes the most sense in my opinion, since they got a movie a couple years ago. So sorry Spider-Man, we are focusing on Wolverine for now. and it should definitely be focused on their healing factors, since both of these characters are known to have some insane healing factors, with Wolverine being able to survive from an atom and Deadpool also being able to survive from just an atom as well. So, both known to have some insane healing factors. And in this brand new team up with Wolverine, Wolverine would be an anchor, gaining extra damage since, every time Wolverine is around Deadpool, he's just super angry and is just always ready to fight. So giving him a damage boost makes the most sense. But for this team up, Deadpool would gain a second life just like how Wolverine has in his base kit. Since even though Deadpool can heal himself as a representation of his healing factor in his base kit, I think him having a second life makes way more sense for his character because, Deadpool can always come back from life in threatening situations, like how he pretty much does in every movie against Juggernaut, against Cassandra Nova, and everything he experienced in Deadpool 1. So I think this team up is probably the easiest to design in my opinion, and it doesn't really take that much because they already have it in game. And finally, we get to the team up they removed most recently from Marvel Rivals, was the iconic Fantastic Four team up, which makes no sense to remove this team up since these 4 members represent a team the most out of any Marvel group in history, so to remove it makes 0 sense. Plus, I am a little bit biased since I am a Torch main. He is my favorite DPS to play, and he is now trash without this team up. Rest in peace, Torch. Well, since they lost this team up, I will give them a brand new team up, and I would say even better team up. That represents their teamwork even better. So I have 2 ideas on how you could do a Fantastic Four team up. One granting the members new abilities, and one giving them superpowered ultimates that would be so broken that no one would be able to survive or run away. So first, let me break down the new ability idea before we get into my crazy 4-way combo ultimate idea. So if we have to give them a new ability, the team up anchor would be Mr. Fantastic instead of Invisible Woman, with this team up being centered around a new technology created by Reed Richards, and he imbues this technology into their super suits to better help the Fantastic Four get out of sticky situations, that being teleportation built into their suits. Just like how in the MCU, Reed is able to teleport to places with his high tech, but this time it's built into the members' suits, allowing them to travel anywhere as long as it's in their looking distance, and has a 25-second cooldown. And right before they're about to teleport, their suits light up, so it shows to the enemies and their teammates that they're about to teleport. But even though the teleport could be used to escape, it could also be used to swap with other Fantastic Four members, with the swapping mechanic having a far shorter cooldown with only 8 seconds, allowing this teleportation ability to have an insane combo potential. So for example, the Thing could be punching the front line and swap with Reed Richards when he has his ults, and he'll bounce on the enemies, and once that ultimate is done, he swaps back to the Thing so he can finish them off. Or if you're Invisible Woman getting dove by Spider-Man or Iron Fist, you could just swap with Torch or Mr. Fantastic to escape the dives. But they have to obviously be in eye distance, which I'm kind of basing this team up idea off of Itadori and Toji from JJK to better provide an example of how using this ability would lead to better teamwork and coordination, which the Fantastic Four are known to work great together, so this team up would perfectly represent that. But if we didn't want to give them a new ability, we could give them the best combo ultimate in the game. How this combo ultimate would work is by having Invis as the anchor, where when Invisible Woman ults, all the members can now add on top of this ultimate. So when Invisible Woman creates this dome, Torch can ult on top of it, making the dome turn on fire, and automatically has one fire tornado placed in the middle of it, giving this dome a little bit more offense, causing the enemies not to really be in this dome. And when Thing ults on top of this dome, every person is hit with grounded effect, even if they were not hit by Thing's ultimate. And finally, Mr. Fantastic creates a force field around this dome with his new technology, making every person in this dome physically trapped in here as he bounces on top of them, meaning that they have to match their support ultimates or they die. And if all 4 members combine their ultimates together, these bonuses all get applied to this dome, as well as this dome gets twice as big as the regular ultimate, making it the ultimate death trap. So if you get caught in this Invis dome, as every other Fantastic Four member adds on top of this, the team fight is pretty much over, which means any team fight that you use with these 4-way ultimates is pretty much an auto win off of sheer advantage and off of sheer kill potential. And I know that might sound pretty crazy to have a 4-way ultimate that does that much, but you're sacrificing 4 ultimates. I think it definitely does have to be that crazy. But let me know what you guys think of these team ups down in the comments below, and let me know what team ups you wish were in the game. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And YouTube told me you would like this video on screen, so go watch it. I promise you won't regret it. Later, hater. Peace.